Welcome back to Horoscope TV. If you are tuning in today, you are looking for clarity, you are looking for insight, and if you are a Scorpio, you are definitely looking for answers.
Oh, yes.
Because, wow, do we have a forecast for you? We are pushing all the other files off the desk today.
Sorry, the decks.
We are clearing the whiteboard because today we're doing something a little different. We are focusing the entire lens, the full power of our analysis, on just one sign.
The Scorpion. And honestly, given the astrological weather we're seeing, they're going to need the focused attention.
Exactly. If you're a Scorpio or you love one or you're just terrified of one, which, let's be honest, is a healthy and respectful response to the sign, this is your briefing.
I think so, yeah.
We are looking ahead to the week of February 2nd through February 8th, 2026. And I have to say, looking at the ephemeris data, looking at the transit charts, I actually double-checked the year.
It does look a bit like a historical anomaly, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's certainly not a quiet week in the stars.
Not even close. You know, often in astrology, we see weeks that are sort of maintenance weeks. You go to work, you come home, the planets are humming along in the background.
Business as usual.
Right. Maybe the moon changes signs every few days, but the baseline is steady. This is not that. The data describes this week as a turning point,
A huge one.
specifically regarding relationships and, well, these deep internal shifts.
It is intense, but I would argue it's also pivotal. Intense can sometimes imply just noise or stress, but pivotal implies that the stress has a purpose.
Okay, I like that.
It moves you somewhere. The data suggests that for Scorpio, the landscape on February 8th is going to look vastly different than the landscape on February 2nd.
Right. It feels like there is a lot of electricity in the air. The headline in my notes just says, "The pressure cooker lid blows off."
Electricity is the perfect word.
Yeah.
And that is largely due to the specific planetary players involved.
Yeah.
We aren't just looking at the moon making us feel moody. We are dealing with Uranus, the planet of high voltage change, Mercury, which governs our nervous system and communication, and then the moon acting as the emotional anchor at the very end.
So our mission today is to really unpack this. We have a week that starts with friction, sparks, and maybe even a little bit of shock, but then it transitions into this deep, intuitive water energy.
It's quite a journey.
It's a roller coaster, and we aren't just going to list the days. We need to analyze the specific planetary movements driving this so that our Scorpio listeners can navigate the turbulence.
Precisely. We need to understand how these three celestial bodies are dancing together. Because if you just look at the events, an argument here, a surprise there, it feels chaotic.
Yeah, totally random.
But if you look at the mechanics, the geometry of the planets, you see the pattern, you see the exit strategy.
And I want to tease the main event right off the bat because I know people are waiting for it. February 4th. Mark your calendars, Scorpios. The data suggests this is the day everything changes for partnerships.
It is the headline event, without a doubt. It's the fulcrum upon which the rest of the week balances.
Okay, let's get right into it then. Section 1. The headline event. Uranus goes direct on February 4th. Now, for the layperson, going direct sounds nice. It sounds straightforward.
Right.
Like, oh, good, the planet is driving in the right direction again.
It sounds orderly, doesn't it? But astrologically, that is, well, it's deceptive.
Right. Let's break this down for everyone. What does it mean when we say Uranus goes direct, and why is it happening in the Scorpio partnership sector of all places?
So to understand the impact, we first have to understand the player. Uranus is the planet of the unexpected. In mythology, Uranus was the sky god, representing the infinite, the shattering of boundaries.
Okay.
Astronomically and astrologically, Uranus is the awakener. It governs sudden change, rebellion, freedom, and lightning bolt insights. Now, for a while, Uranus has been retrograde.
Which means it appears to be moving backward in the sky from our perspective on Earth.
Exactly. And astrologically, when a planet is retrograde, its energy is turned inward. It's suppressed. Think of it like a coiled spring or a pressure cooker.
Ooh, okay.
Issues regarding change, freedom, or autonomy have been bubbling under the surface. You might have felt them internally, a dissatisfaction, a restlessness, but they haven't fully expressed themselves in the external world.
It's the feeling of being stuck. Or maybe the feeling of, biting your tongue.
Precisely. Stagnation. But on February 4th, Uranus stations direct. Now, stationing is the key concept here.
Right.
Before a planet reverses direction, it has to stop. It appears to stand still in the sky.
And that moment of stillness is actually the most volatile moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. Think of it like a car. When a car is cruising at 60 miles per hour,
Yeah.
the energy is distributed. But when you slam on the brakes to do a U-turn, that moment of stillness,
Yeah.
the torque, the pressure on the chassis. That is maximum stress. Uranus has been asleep, essentially.
Yeah.
On February 4th, it wakes up.
And it wakes up screaming.
It wakes up screaming. That's a great way to put it.
And for Scorpio, this isn't happening in some abstract corner of the chart. It is happening in the 7th house.
The house of others. The not me.
Precisely. This is the sector of committed partnerships. This is marriage, business partners, long-term collaborators. It's the people you have signed a contract with, spiritually or legally. So if I'm a Scorpio and I've been feeling like my relationship is just treading water, maybe we aren't fighting, but we aren't moving, what does February 4th do to that dynamic?
The data is very clear on this. It will suddenly move. This isn't a gentle drift where you slowly decide to make a change over a few months of therapy.
No.
Uranus doesn't do gentle. It is a sharp, distinct movement.
So it's either we're doing this, we're moving forward, let's get married, or I can't do this anymore, goodbye.
It creates a binary outcome. It forces the issue. If the relationship is stale, the desire to break free becomes overwhelming. It's a liberation energy.
Right.
But if the relationship is strong but just stagnant, this could be the spark that reignites the passion. It's about shaking off the lethargy.
That's wild. And we should mention the polarity here, too. Uranus is currently in Taurus.
Yes, and that is crucial. Scorpio and Taurus are opposite signs. They sit across from each other on the zodiac wheel.
Okay.
Scorpio is fixed, water intense, emotional, private. Taurus is fixed, earth stable, grounded, sometimes stubborn.
So you have the planet of chaos, Uranus, sitting in the sign of stability, Taurus, staring directly down the barrel at Scorpio.
It creates an axis of tension. It's like a tug of war. Scorpio wants to control the depth. Uranus in Taurus wants to disrupt the foundation.
Wow.
That's why we see this sudden quality. The tension snaps.
What about the single Scorpios out there? If Uranus is the planet of the unexpected, does this mean they might meet someone?
Oh, absolutely. But it likely won't be the usual type.
Okay.
Uranus creates high electricity. You might meet someone who shocks you in a good way. Someone who is radically different from your past partners.
So if you usually date accountants, you might meet a skydiving instructor.
Or if you usually date people who are very emotionally available, you might meet someone who is brilliantly detached and fascinating. It's that love at first sight or immediate obsession vibe.
The lightning bolt.
It's a lightning bolt again.
But there's a warning here too, right? The phrase expect the unexpected comes up in the forecast. It's not all romance novels and fireworks.
Yes. And that applies to existing partners, too. Your partner might act out of character. They might say something out of the blue or change plans at the last minute.
Ah.
Because Uranus is in their sector, the 7th house, they're the ones carrying this erratic energy.
So how does a Scorpio prepare for that? Because let's be honest, Scorpios like control. They like to know the outcome. They like to hold the cards.
That is the fundamental tension of this week. Scorpio craves depth and control. Uranus demands freedom and chaos.
A real clash.
It is. The advice here is flexibility. If you try to grip the sand tighter, it slips through your fingers. You have to ride the wave.
Yeah.
If your partner acts erratically, let's say they come home and say they want to quit their job and start a goat farm.
Okay.
Don't react with possessiveness or fear. Observe it. Ask, where is this coming from?
So don't lock the doors and hide the keys?
Definitely not. That will only cause an explosion. Uranus is like a pressurized gas. If you try to contain it, it bursts.
Right.
If you give it room, it dissipates or transforms into something useful.
Radical change to the contract. I like that phrasing. It's about rewriting the terms of engagement.
Exactly.
Okay, so February 4th is the big boom. The car has screeched to a halt and spun around, but the roller coaster continues.
It sure does.
Let's move to section 2, the Mercury roller coaster, specifically February 5th and 6th.
This is a fascinating 48-hour window because the energy shifts dramatically. It's like walking out of a heavy metal concert directly into a spa.
Let's start with the heavy metal part, February 5th. Mercury squares Uranus. Now, we just talked about Uranus being erratic. Mercury is communication. A square in astrology is a clash, right?
Yeah, correct. A square is a 90-degree angle, and it represents friction, obstacles, and tension. It's like two cars arriving at an intersection at full speed at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So you have Mercury, how we talk, how we think, how we process information slamming into Uranus, which is currently shaking up that relationship sector.
The forecast mentions this specifically manifesting at home.
Yes. The data predicts arguments, specifically in the domestic sphere. Because Mercury is involved, these are verbal spats.
Right.
And because Uranus is involved, they come out of nowhere. You might be having a calm breakfast, someone makes a comment about the toast, and suddenly it's a massive argument about the last 5 years of your marriage.
Yikes. The notes here describe it as verbal hemorrhaging.
That is a very vivid, very Scorpio way to put it, but it's accurate.
It feels right.
Under this transit, the filter between your brain and your mouth disappears. You feel a flash of irritation, that's the Uranus spark, and you articulate it immediately, that's Mercury.
And it mentions a work-life bleed here, too. What's that about?
This is a very modern manifestation of this transit. Many of us work from home or are constantly connected. This square creates a conflict between your duties and your domestic life.
So let's paint the picture. It's Thursday, February 5th. You are a Scorpio. You are likely already feeling raw from the Uranus shift the day before. You are trying to get work done. What's the scenario?
The scenario is you're on a Zoom call, trying to be professional, presenting the quarterly figures, and in the background, your partner or your kids are having a meltdown.
Oh, no.
Or you're trying to finish a report and a pipe bursts. It's the interruption of your mental focus by chaotic external circumstances.
It's the inability to compartmentalize. And Scorpios love compartments. They love to keep work me separate from home me.
And Mercury square Uranus dissolves those walls violently. The nervous system becomes overloaded.
So what's the advice for the 5th? How do you get through it?
Boundaries. Hard boundaries. If you have to work, lock the door. If you're engaging with family, put the phone away. Do not try to multitask on February 5th.
Don't even try.
Your nervous system will be too fried. And specifically regarding conflict, do not engage.
So the strategy isn't just be nice, it's literally shut down.
Correct. If you try to fix the relationship with a Mercury square Uranus transit, you aren't using a scalpel, you're using a chainsaw.
Right.
Put the chainsaw down, wait for the weather to change.
Because, and this is the silver lining, the weather changes fast.
It does. We move to February 6th.
Mercury enters Pisces, and the tone changes completely.
It is like the storm clouds parting and the sun hitting the ocean. It's a complete shift.
So Mercury moves from that erratic, clash-prone energy, it was in Aquarius previously, into Pisces, which is a water sign.
And Scorpio is a water sign.
So we have a flow.
We have a harmonious flow known as a trine. When Mercury is in Pisces, communication stops being about facts, logic, and arguments and starts being about feeling, intuition, and subtext.
The forecast uses the word telepathic.
That is the Pisces influence. Pisces dissolves boundaries, but in a good way, unlike the Uranus square. On the 5th, you're arguing about semantics. On the 6th, you look at each other and just know what the other's feeling. Becomes poetic.
So if you did get into that fight about the toast on the 5th.
The 6th is the day to fix it. But don't fix it with a spreadsheet of who did what wrong. Don't bring up the transcript of the argument.
You have evidence.
No. Fix it with a gesture. Write a love letter. Have a deep late-night conversation about your dreams.
It says it's ideal for creative expression, too.
Absolutely. Mercury in Pisces is the poet, the songwriter, the dreamer. If you are a writer, a musician, or just someone who journals, February 6th is a goldmine.
The channel is open.
The channel is wide open. You can access parts of your subconscious that were blocked by the noise earlier in the week.
I love that. Survive the arguments of the 5th to enjoy the poetry of the 6th. That's the mantra.
It's a beautiful payoff if you can navigate the turbulence without burning the bridge.
Now, let's circle back to what you called the main event. We touched on it with Uranus, but let's go deeper into Section 3, love and romance. Because the forecast says explicitly, love is the main event.
It is the central theme. Everything else this week, career, money, is orbiting around the gravitational pull of your relationships.
We talked about the break-free energy of Uranus, but I want to talk about the nuance here. It says those in stale relationships might decide to leave. Is this impulsive?
That's a great question.
Because Scorpio is usually a stick with it until the bitter end kind of sign. They are loyal.
They are incredibly loyal, perhaps the most loyal sign in the zodiac. But Scorpio is also the sign of transformation. They are the phoenix.
Right.
They understand death and rebirth better than anyone. Uranus provides the catalyst. It's not necessarily impulsive in a reckless way. It's impulsive in a, I suddenly see the truth way. It's a moment of clarity.
It's like the lights coming on in a dark room.
Exactly. If the relationship is dead, Uranus strips away the illusion that it's still alive. Scorpio usually holds on because of emotional depth, but Uranus is detached. It helps Scorpio cut the cord.
That's powerful. It's not just fighting, it's liberation.
Exactly. But there is a twist at the end of the week. Just when we think the Mercury-Pisces energy has smoothed everything out,
Oh, there's more.
we get to February 8th.
Venus square Uranus.
Hits keep coming.
So Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and value. Uranus is still doing its chaotic dance in the partnership sector. They clash. What does this look like?
This often manifests as a conflict between personal freedom and relationship obligation. This is a classic aspect for I need space.
Oh, okay. So maybe you want to go on a spontaneous date with your partner to reconnect, but your family needs you.
Or vice versa. Or let's look at the psychology of it. We've been through a trauma earlier in the week, the Uranus station,
Yeah.
then a healing, Mercury and Pisces. Sunday comes around and Venus squares Uranus. This creates what psychologists might call the repulsion of closeness.
Wait, unpack that. Because usually after a fight and a makeup, you want to be close. You want the hysterical bonding.
Normally, yes.
Yeah.
But Uranus demands autonomy. So you might have this great makeup session on Friday, but by Sunday, one partner, and it might be a Scorpio or it might be the partner, suddenly feels suffocated.
Ah.
It's that feeling of, I love you, but get away from me.
The I need to walk into the woods alone for 6 hours feeling.
Yes. And if the other partner is feeling insecure because of the chaos earlier in the week, they are going to cling.
Which is the worst possible reaction to a Venus-Uranus square.
It triggers the trap. The more they cling, the more you want to run. The data describes this as the rubber band effect. You stretch apart to get tension.
Right.
If you allow that stretch, you eventually snap back together. If you force the proximity, the rubber band breaks.
And the expert insight here is interesting. It asks, why does this happen right after the nice Mercury-Pisces shift?
It's a reminder that communication and circumstance are two different things. Mercury in Pisces improves the communication. You can talk about your feelings beautifully.
Okay.
But Venus square Uranus means the circumstances or the desires are still chaotic.
So you might have a great heart-to-heart, but the car still breaks down on the way to dinner. Or you understand each other, but you still need to be in different rooms.
Precisely. The advice is, don't assume the weekend is smooth sailing just because you made up. Be ready for external surprises. Don't let a change in plans ruin the emotional progress you've made.
So what do you do?
Engage in parallel play. Read a book in the same room, but don't talk. Go for separate walks. Honor the need for space.
That is such good advice, separating the connection from the situation.
It is crucial for this week.
Okay, let's pivot to section 4, career and finance. We've established that work is taking a back seat.
It is not the protagonist of the story this week, but it is the setting for some subplots.
But there are still some landmines. The forecast mentions the full moon from February 1st, which is technically before this week starts, is still lingering.
Yes, full moons have a tail of influence that lasts for a few days, sometimes up to a week.
Right.
That full moon on the 1st was likely highlighting your professional status or public reputation, the 10th house. So eyes are still on you at work, even if your head is at home dealing with the relationship drama.
So you can't just check out completely.
Unfortunately not. You have to perform, even if you are emotionally exhausted.
And Uranus affects business partners too, right? It's not just romantic partners.
That is a very important distinction. The 7th house covers all contractual one-on-one relationships. If you have a business co-founder, an agent, or a key client, they're also subject to this Uranus direct erratic energy.
So contracts might be canceled.
Or signed suddenly. A deal that has been stalled for 6 months might suddenly land on your desk on Wednesday and need a signature by Thursday.
Wow. Or a client might fire you out of the blue? Or hire you out of the blue?
It is possible. The key word again is flexibility. Do not hold on to the original plan if the landscape shifts.
Right.
If a client leaves, let them go. Uranus usually removes things that are blocking your growth, even if it hurts in the moment.
Now let's talk money, because there's a specific warning here about joint accounts.
This is directly tied to the relationship turbulence. The 8th house, Scorpio's natural house, rules other people's money. The 7th house rules the partner. When Uranus hits the 7th, the partner becomes unpredictable. If you share finances, their spending might reflect their internal chaos.
So retail therapy.
Or impulsive investments. Or just carelessness. The data warns that money might flow out unexpectedly.
And the unexpected costs related to home or family.
That links back to the squares we saw earlier. Tension at home can sometimes be literal breakage. A chaotic argument energy can manifest as a broken appliance or a plumbing issue.
You're kidding.
It sounds superstitious, but astrologers see this correlation all the time. Energy manifests physically.
So if the dishwasher breaks on Tuesday, blame Uranus.
Essentially, yes. It's the release of pressure.
But there is a strategy here, the intuition strategy.
Yes, this comes online with that Mercury and Pisces shift on the 6th.
If something feels wrong, do not buy it.
It sounds simple, but in a week of chaos, we often try to buy solutions. We think, oh, if I just buy this new gadget, it will fix the problem.
Right. Let's book a vacation.
If I book this expensive vacation, we will stop fighting.
Mercury in Pisces says, stop. Listen to your gut.
It says this is not the week for big risks.
No. Save for a rainy day. If you get a knot in your stomach when you look at the price tag or the investment opportunity, walk away.
Even if it looks good on paper.
Especially then. Your logic might say this is a good deal, but your intuition knows the hidden variables.
Got it. Keep the wallet closed, trust the gut. Now let's talk about the people around us. Section 5, the social circle. We have a soulmate and we have a clash.
The contrast here is stark. It's basically go here versus do not go here.
Let's start with the good news. The best match, Pisces.
This makes perfect sense given the Mercury transit. Why is Pisces the hero for Scorpio this week?
Pisces is also a water sign. They speak the same emotional language. But while Scorpio is fixed water, like ice or a deep, still lake that holds everything in heart, Pisces is mutable water.
Okay.
They are the river. They are the mist. They flow.
So when Scorpio is stiffening up against the chaos, trying to control everything, Pisces is just floating along.
Exactly. Pisces offers compassion. They don't try to fix the chaos with logic. They soothe it with empathy. The forecast says they create a magical bubble.
I like the sound of that, escaping the world's chaos.
If you have a Pisces friend or partner, go to them this week. They won't judge your intensity. They will just hold space for it. The connection is described as spiritual and telepathic.
That sounds amazing.
They are the ones who will say, I know you're hurting, without you having to say a word.
On the flip side, we have the worst match, Leo.
The lion.
Why the beef with Leo this week?
It comes down to fixed sign energy. We talked about this with Taurus earlier. Scorpio's fixed water, Leo is fixed fire. Fixed means stubborn. It means I stay the course.
I am the center of my universe.
It means I am the king queen of my domain.
So you have two immovable objects colliding.
And they are squaring each other in the sky. Leo wants to be seen. They want the stage, the drama, the applause. Scorpio wants privacy, depth, and secrets.
The forecast says Leo might seem arrogant or superficial to Scorpio right now.
And Scorpio might seem brooding, manipulative, and controlling to Leo. It's a bad mix. Leo will try to brighten the room up, and Scorpio will want to dim the lights.
And the conflict, what does that look like?
Power struggles. The lingering bad vibes from that earlier full moon in Leo on the 1st are still present.
So what's the strategy?
Let them have the stage where you stay in the shadows. Do not engage.
Don't get in a fight.
Do not try to outshine them, and do not try to pull them into your depths. They won't go. If you get into a power struggle with a Leo this week, no one wins. You just burn the house down.
Okay. Note to self. Avoid Leos, hug a Pisces.
A solid strategic plan.
Let's move to section 6. Health and wellness. We've talked about the emotional toll, but this stuff physicalizes.
It always does. The body keeps the score.
The forecast highlights specific vulnerabilities, the reproductive system, and hormones.
Scorpio rules the reproductive system and the elimination organs in medical astrology. When a Scorpio is under relationship stress, which is the theme of the week, it often hits them right there.
So hormonal imbalances, tension in the pelvic floor, crampiness, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Or just a general sense of heavy unease in the lower body.
It says the cause is the stress of relationship changes manifesting physically.
Stress is not just in your head. It's chemistry, cortisol, adrenaline. And for Scorpio, holding on to grudges or resentment acts like a literal poison.
That's a strong image. Grudges act like poison.
It's true. Scorpio has a tendency to hold on to things. I will never forget what you said. But this week, that retention is toxic to your physical health. If you hold on to the anger from the argument on the 5th, your body will rebel. You need to release it.
And there's a note about sleep disruption around February 4th.
That's the Uranus station. Uranus is electric. It affects the body's electrical system, the nervous system. It's like sticking your finger in a socket.
Oh, you feel buzzy.
That energy can make you feel wired, buzzing, unable to shut down. Insomnia is very common during heavy Uranus transits.
So what do? Keep the bedroom cool and dark?
Combat the electrical fire with cool darkness. No screens, grounding sheets if you have them. Anything to bring that buzzing energy down.
And the prescription is sweat it out.
This is vital. You cannot think your way out of this stress. You have to move it out.
It suggests intense exercise like boxing or running.
Something cathartic. Punching a bag is great for Scorpio energy because Scorpio is traditionally ruled by Mars, the warrior.
Right. Get that aggression out.
You need to express that aggression physically so you don't express it verbally at your partner.
But it also suggests deep relaxation, like a long bath or massage.
That's the water element again. So either burn it off with fire, boxing, or wash it away with water bath.
Right.
Just don't sit on the couch and stew. Stagnation is the enemy.
Best timing for this. When should we do this?
February 7th.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 7, the Scorpio weekend, and the toolkit. February 7th is a big day.
It is the homecoming. The moon enters Scorpio.
Finally. What does that feel like?
Imagine you've been wearing a suit that's too tight all week. You've been trying to be polite, dealing with crazy people, dealing with electrical shocks.
Yeah.
Then you walk through your front door, take off the suit, and put on your favorite robe. That is the moon in your own sign.
A return to self.
Yes. Your emotional power returns. Your intuition hits its peak. You stop reacting to everyone else, Uranus, and start dictating the vibe again, Scorpio moon.
It says this is the time to plan your next move.
After the chaos of Uranus on the 4th and the arguments on the 5th, the 7th is when you sit down in your power and say, okay, this is what happened. Here's what I am going to do about it. It's strategic.
I love that. Let's hit the data points for the listeners who love the specifics.
Let's look at the number.
Color of the week, black. Hashtag 000000.
The classic Scorpio color. But why? It's not about being goth or sad. It's physics.
Okay.
Black absorbs light. It absorbs energy. It is the ultimate protection. When the world is chaotic, wearing black is like putting up a shield. It says, I am observing you, but you cannot see me. It conserves your energy.
It's armor.
Exactly. It's energetic camouflage.
Lucky numbers, 8, 13, 22, 31, 44, 53.
We see a lot of power numbers there. 8 is the number of infinity and power. 13 is the number of death and transformation, often associated with Scorpio and often misunderstood as unlucky.
Right.
For Scorpio, 13 is incredibly lucky. It means change.
The best dates.
February 7th and 8th, the weekend.
So survive the week, own the weekend.
That is the strategy. The week is something that happens to you. The weekend is something you create.
Let's wrap this up with our outro and final thoughts. We've covered a lot.
We have. It's a dense week.
To recap the narrative arc, we start the week with a shock Uranus going direct on the 4th.
Which unblocks the pipes in your relationships, for better or worse.
Yeah.
It forces movement.
Then we move through the friction of the Mercury square on the 5th arguments at home, the Zoom call nightmare.
Followed by the beautiful release of Mercury entering Pisces on the 6th, telepathy, poetry, and healing.
And finally, we end with personal empowerment as the moon enters Scorpio on the 7th.
It's a journey. You are not the same person at the end of the week as you were at the start.
And that brings me to our provocative thought for the day. We usually think of chaos as bad. We think of breakups or arguments as failures. But looking at this chart,
Is it? Is it a failure?
is the disruption actually the gift?
That is the question. Scorpio craves deep emotional flow. You cannot have flow if you are dammed up by a stale relationship or a routine that suffocates you.
Right.
Uranus comes in and blows up the dam. It looks like a disaster in the moment. The water is everywhere. But once the dust settles, the river is flowing again.
Transformation through chaos.
It's the Scorpio way. Maybe the breaking free isn't a punishment. Maybe it's exactly what you asked for on a soul level. Maybe the person leaving your life is making room for the person who matches your new vibration.
That gives me chills. A powerful perspective to take into the week. Don't fear the explosion. Look for the flow that comes after it.
Indeed. Trust the process.
Thank you so much for tuning into this forecast on Horoscope TV. We hope this analysis helps you navigate the storms and find the magic in the water.
Be sure to subscribe so you can get notified for the next update. You won't want to miss it.
Absolutely. Until next time, trust your intuition, wear black, and embrace the change.
Goodbye for now.
See you next week.